We can do the news.
What is this?
Does the news consent? Sure.
Bible stories would be required reading under controversial proposal for Texas public schools.
Man, okay, so, fun fact. Before I started doing content creation, and I was just watching atheist content creators, I remember watching this kind of stuff the same way that I would watch an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where I knew that there was no way in hell it was going to go through, but I wanted to see how it was going to be circumvented. That's... Because in Yu-Gi-Oh! You know the protagonist is going to win, you just want to see how he does it. Same shit here. I no longer believe that that is the case. I am now infinitely more worried about this shit because I've seen PragerU become part of the curriculum in Florida.
And we've seen conversion therapy become protected speech, or is on the way to becoming protected speech.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Fucking stupid shit.
Actually, remind me of that one on the next story.
Taryn Abasser says Publix. I've had Publix subs. They're mid. I understand you have an opinion, Taryn. I also understand it's fucking wrong. It's okay. I also need to get a fork for this. Jesus Christ.
Oh, God damn it, Cirrus. Fucking hey. I don't know what to do to entertain you guys. I'm sorry. DMCA strike. That's assuming I'm good enough to actually trigger it.
Assuming you're good enough to trigger what? Who?
Oh, I did the hamster dance while you were gone.
That's the
one. Shh, shh. No DMCA!
My favorite part about the hamster dance lore on the internet is that if you watch Disney's Robin Hood, that's also just the theme the rooster sings.
I am aware of that. I made that connection immediately because I love the Robin Hood movie.
You fucking furry.
I don't think I'm a furry, though. I just like the movie. Like, I know it turned a bunch of people into furries.
A bunch of people saw Maid Marian and they went, wood.
Yeah. Indeed.
Anyway, yeah, Bible stories, required reading.
A question, I ignored him. I don't know where Jessa. I don't see a question. You say you pinned it, but I don't see which ones are pinned on my end because I'm bad. Jassa, you could answer my question. Oh, so earlier. Stupid quiz. Oh, are trans fats not illegal in Canada? Is that the question? Because no, they're not. They're very highly discouraged, but they're there.
They're not allowed, but what if they have a thyroid issue?
I don't get the joke.
I also don't understand why we care specifically about the trans fats. The cis fats are probably also pretty bad.
Oh, good lord. Anyway. So let's just start the story over because, I don't know, we didn't get into it far enough to actually continue.
Nope, we didn't.
Am I still in the crate about being a furry? No, I'm not a furry. I'm okay if people think I'm a furry, but I'm not. Any hoozlebees. Bible stories would be required reading under controversial proposal for Texas public schools.
God, I'm so excited to live in this timeline. You have no fucking idea.
Yeah, so biblical stories like Jonah and the whale would be required reading for Texas public school student under proposals that are putting the state at the center of renewed contentious wrangling over the role of religion in classrooms. It doesn't have a role. It shouldn't have a role.
I would argue that the study of religion is fine, but religion as an apparatus should not have a fucking role in the classroom.
But they're also talking about, like, grade 5.
Mm-hmm.
The study of religion is something that, like, I could see that being a useful high school class.
Counterpoint. If somebody studied multiple world religions earlier, don't you think it would maybe inoculate them against fucking shit like Mormonism?
Yeah,
because
maybe.
Now suddenly instead of there is only one road to the way, the truth, and the life, there's 15 different cultures that have 15 different ideas on this.
Counterpoint. You know that, in effect, the only religion that's going to be allowed, at least in the United States, is Christianity. That's the only one they're going to study. And if they study the other ones, you're going to have the Christian teachers that put their own spin on it and, like, people think Muhammad da 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 da, but Jesus da 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 da.
Yeah, I don't doubt that would happen. I would just hope. I can hope, damn it.
People ask which flavor of Christianity. The one that has the most power right now would be the evangelical ones, which I recognize that encompasses several denominations, but like they're close enough in agreement with stuff that I feel like they'd be okay with that. The Catholics might have an issue with it.
So,
and the Mormons, the Adventists wouldn't like it either. But
the denomination that has the most power right now, I would say, is probably the Southern Baptists, only because most of your quote non-denominational churches technically just fall under Southern Baptists. They've also got a pretty big convention for themselves, and they managed to get themselves in the news quite a lot. Not just Westboro, but NIFB and shit. NIFB being a really big example of that. The thing that's scary with Christianity, though, in government, isn't necessarily which sect has the power. It's the way they specifically want that power to be wielded. I've been going on about this in a lot of different videos recently, but the Seven Mountains Mandate is terrifying as absolute all fuck. In short, for anybody who doesn't know what it is the idea that there are 7 pillars of society, like family, entertainment, religion, government, and that they need to control most of those pillars of society in order to further their ends. Now, where the further their ends gets depends on who you talk to. If it's the Southern Baptists, then the ends are actually the apocalypse, and that sounds very, very tinfoil hatty, but the amount of them
come right out and said it, though.
Yeah, but they come right out and say, like, we need this so that Jesus will do the end times. Like, it is one of those things, like, it sounds like it's tinfoil hatty until you hear one of them just fucking say it. Just like it sounds tinfoil hatty when you say that the crypto millionaires want to take us to anarcho-capitalism so they can have little mini-states that they all control individually until they just fucking say they want that, and then suddenly it's not tinfoil hatty anymore, and they've been doing it for years. Seven Mountains Mandate, Christians have intersection with the Quiverful Christians, and the Quiverful Christians are part of Baptist denominations specifically. That whole group is scary because they don't just want governmental power, they want governmental power specifically to enact not quite theocracy, but if they have control over every aspect of society, I don't know what other word you would use.
Man. Yeah, it's terrifying. And this is how they indoctrinate more people to think that this is the way to actually do things.
Yep.
So they're going over the history of Texas here. They say Texas became the first state to allow chaplains in 2023. Minor correction there. I remember covering that story. They didn't allow chaplains. They allowed schools to hire chaplains instead of counselors. So you can either hire a counselor who is actually going to help the students with potentially mental health stuff, potentially like finding placements and like work programs, finding ways to get into higher education stuff, applying for things like that, doing careers planning, stuff like that, and replace them with someone who's going to be like, but Jesus, though. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Have you considered serving Jesus?
The thing that bothers me about that the most is that it always ends up being very, very vague, because, like, the way to serve Jesus is always going to boil down to some kind of vague feeling about what you think God is communicating to you, and you can use anything on the planet as your North Star for what is considered a sign.
Yeah, and generally the Christians don't actually care as long as you give 10% of your income to the church while you're serving Jesus. It's not serving Jesus if you're not tithing.
God, it is frustrating. But no, I think that the way to fight this type of legislation is going to be the same way that we've seen it fought in several other avenues of the government. If you want to have Bible stories as mandatory teaching, then okay, cool. We're okay with that, but recognize that there are students of multiple religions there, so now they all have to be covered. Nobody's got fucking time for that.
Yeah, so that in order to get that through, it's going to have to go through the Supreme Court, and I do not have confidence in them making the right choice there. But with the way it's worded now, it's not even like, I was thinking immediately malicious compliance. Let's tell the story of that time a guy chopped up his concubine after he sent her out to the men to let them rape her to death.
Let's talk about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, but we don't leave out anything.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually work because this legislation is specifically it's specifying which stories you are telling to whom.
They would be creating a curriculum of stories.
Yeah, you could still have fun with it because one of the stories that is going to be mandatory is the story of Job.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one where the Bible explicitly says that God's doing fucked up shit.
Yep.
It's not Satan doing that to Job. It's like God says to Satan, you have incited me against Job without reason. It doesn't say you have done this without reason. It says you've made me do it without reason. So, yeah, I feel like there's still room for malicious compliance, but they're going to clamp down on that.
Yeah, the issue that you have to do is you need teachers who are willing to specifically engage in malicious compliance as opposed to just fearing for their jobs. Because there's going to be just as many who are not going to have the balls to do it or simply agree with teaching Bible stories and converting people to religions who are children who them nor their parents consented to that shit.
Yeah, so I like this quote. It says, "Our children need truth," says Nathan Irving, a pastor and father of 8 from Myrtle Springs, Texas. So Nathan Irving, a guy whose job it is to lie to people, says our children need truth. "Truth is the only currency that never devalues. Investing truth into our children is the most loving thing that we can do for them. This is the truth. This country and this state were founded upon a Christian worldview. Like it or not, it is true."
But
no, the
truth
fuck it is not.
Does devalue because we have actual studies of how fascism functions specifically that show that there is an actual line that you can cross where truth does not matter anymore. It simply matters who has power.
Is it the line where Trump can say, "Oh, they've agreed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, so we win," because that was the whole goal of the war the entire time?
The Strait of Hormuz that closed because we enacted a war?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, the one that BT Dubs isn't actually fully open right now?
Nope. That's a later story.
Oh, okay,
we'll
cool.
Get to that.
Oh shit, yeah, stream does show that I'm playing League of Legends and I am not. Hold on. That should be just chatting. Oops. I've been violating Twitch TOS for the past 2 hours.
Shut down.
Wouldn't be the first time. They have shut me down live before.
Nice.
Yep, it's because I showed a rubber bullet wound.
A rubber bullet wound.
Yep, it violated their rules on realistic gore.
Okay, how bad was the wound?
I was trying to make the point that rubber bullets do in fact cause lots of damage, so
not nice.
Yeah, so it was a pretty raggedy fucking wound. I'm not gonna say that I wasn't doing that. I'll just say that I had my reasons for doing it.
Should I flash my nipple and see what happens?
I probably not a good idea. The minute you say you're non-binary or some shit, they're gonna go, well, we gotta cut it down. Cut it in half, boys.
But I am binary.
I said non-binary.
I have the boy bits and I identify with the boy bits.
We don't know that. You could be lying for money on the camera.
Okay, I'll prove it.
I'll prove it. Let me show you my boy bits. God, it's like the fucking girl I was covering on stream earlier who was just like, what genitals do you have? Ma'am, that is a minor. What the fuck?
Yeah, I have a point to make about her when we get to the third story tonight, so
okay.
Remind me of that. But, yeah, so some people are arguing that including biblical texts in public school curriculums violates the separation of church and state, which it does. Others say the list is too extensive, which and would be difficult to fully teach within the year. So, they're not only are they making it required reading, they're being like, you have to do so much of it that you're not going to have time for any other shit. So, fun fact, or fun time there. And others raise concerns that it'll limit teachers' ability to choose their own materials, which you'd think that state that is ostensibly all about freedom and my freedoms would want teachers to be able to choose their curriculums.
Nope, absolutely not. We want them to teach the Bible and nothing else. If it isn't the Bible, it's not good enough for me.
So I don't like that this was buried way down in the article, but we have the GOP-leaning board previously approved a new Bible-infused curriculum that is optional for schools to incorporate into kindergarten through fifth grades. It introduces Bible-based lessons such as the Golden Rule and stories from books such as the Book of Genesis into classrooms. While adopting this curriculum is optional, schools implementing it receive additional funding.
So it's not really optional.
Yeah, because schools are desperate for money.
Yeah, if you provide a financial incentive to do it, it stopped being optional right about that point.
No, it's still optional. You can work in poverty, or you can do the thing that we want you to do.
Ultimatums aren't options.
But Cirrus, I ask you though, how would we expect people who think love me or burn in hell for all eternity is a free choice? How would we expect them to understand coercion?
Well, considering that there is a non-zero amount of them that like shuffling priests who have raped children around the world for one reason or another, I don't think that all of them really understand consent all too well. So you may have a point there.
Yeah. So this is along the same lines as we see people. We've seen these apologists for decades now defending the biblical genocides and explaining how bad behavior of these cultures justified wiping them out. And now when Israel is doing genocide in Gaza, they're all like, yeah, no, this is okay because Hamas is bad, so it's okay.
But do you condemn hummus?
Should we really? I do. Chickpeas are gross.
I don't think you condemn hummus.
Chickpeas are disgusting.
Chickpeas are delicious.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. You just don't like things that are quality. I mentioned you had a palate earlier. I didn't say it was good.
Yeah. I will eat chickpeas. I just don't like them. That's actually my real problem with food is that I will eat whatever is in front of me, whether I like it or not. So the fact that there's so many different people who will only eat so many different things or whatever, like by the time dinner's done, I will just pick something out of the meals that we've made.
Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.